want to make a quick video tutorial on how to consistently feeble grind on a keen ram slapstick. I find this trick harder on the slapstick than I do on curbs. There's a reason for that. The keen ramp slapstick only has so much clearance for your wheels and your board and such. So yeah, I find it a little bit more difficult than an actual slappy. So I thought maybe other people were probably having difficulty with it, and I wanted to share some advice. The least important part of this trick is probably your foot placement. So let me get that over with really quick. A little bit the backstory I should provide before I do that. I've been able to do this trick for a long time, probably specifically on this obstacle at least like 7 months, but I have not been very consistent with it. I found that I only get a few per session that look good, that I really like, until I focus on technique. So yeah, let's dig into that. First thing, foot placement. Like I said, it doesn't matter too much. Front foot, you kind of want it above the front bolts in that front pocket, maybe slightly angled. If you put it further back, you'll go faster. Sometimes that comes in handy. If you put it more forward, it goes slower. If you're skating on a hill like me, that might come in handy. Your back foot, I like my back foot like so, in the pocket, pointed down slightly. I like it pointed down because it makes it easier for me to get out of the trick. It also makes it easier for me to go to fakie if I want to go to fakie or board slide out. So back foot in the pocket, pointed slightly down. Front foot in the pocket, pointed slightly up. Almost like a crooked grind, is barely different. But that doesn't really matter. If you focus on your technique, you can kind of get into the trick with any foot position and still right away. The hard part about this trick is learning how to do a slappy swerve. So if you can slappy swerve on a curb, it's basically a very exaggerated form of that. So yeah, if you know how to slappy feeble on a curb consistently, just really exaggerate it. Put lots of weight on your heels, and it's the same technique. If you don't know how to slappy feeble on a curb, I'm gonna break it down a little bit more. I start off parallel to the rail. So I would kind of like throw down here, so you can see the rail is basically parallel to my shoulders. And then you're gonna swerve away from the rail or the slapstick, and then drastically swerve back into it right before you grind. So that's gonna make you like kind of swerve, go curvy backside and curvy front side. And you wanna be still curving front side with your heel pressure down once you hit the rail. So I'm gonna put some clips here and there that explain the swerve better. Check out the swerve. When you're directly next to the rail, then you go front side, and really what's going to push you forward in this trick is that heel pressure and leaning back just a little bit. So if you're still swerving front side into the trick, when you get in it, it's just going to shoot you forward like so. It's going to really shoot you out of here. If your technique is great, sometimes it might be a little scary how fast it blasts you out of the rail. It makes it really easy if you got that technique down to feeble the whole rail, feeble out of the rail. I like to feeble the whole rail and land back in the transition. It just feels more fun to me. If you're sticking backside slappies and shooting out, that's a good sign that you basically got the trick. You just need to get that front truck over a little bit more. But really focus on that slappy S swerve, lean back just a pinch, push that heel pressure down as soon as you hear the back truck hitting the rail, and it's gonna go. It's probably the fastest grind that I can do once I'm locked in. I had this trick down for a very long time, but it would stick a lot. It would either stick wheel side around here, or wheel side around here. And my first 6 months like doing this trick, I would compensate for sticking by putting lots of wax on the wheel part, where the wheel slides against the ramp. If you don't have this trick down at all, do that first. Put a lot of wax where your wheels would go. But now with this technique, I don't even have to wax at all. Like, I pretty much took all the wax off, and I can just do a really long feeble at this point. I find this trick easier without deck rails. Deck rails kind of get in the way. Yeah, if you have deck rails, it's going to be a pinch harder to get away with this trick, but not that much harder. The reason for that is the deck rails actually make you lose like a couple millimeters of clearance to dip your board in. Another technique that might help you out is putting the keen ramp slapstick right next to a curb. Because if you're doing the trick and you're bashing into the curb, like if the front of your board is hitting the curb, like over here, that means your technique is off. You're dipping too far. You actually want to dip it less than that. It'll keep you sliding longer. So put it next to a curb, and if you're hitting the curb, you got to practice more. You can maybe wax the curb and like kind of cheat and get comfy that way. But yeah, do that S curve really hard in. Getting out of this trick is the hardest part. If you see me do a few sloppy attempts in this edit, it's because getting out of this trick takes a lot of energy, and I'm a bit older, and so this is actually a trick I don't like. When I start getting into it, I'm like, oh shit, you're gonna get tired, dude. I don't like doing it too often. I don't like making feebles on this obstacle the highlight of my sesh. And wait, I take that back. That's how I felt before I had this technique. Now with this S curve technique, really putting my heel side pressure going in, I can get into the trick every single time. Now the only struggles I have with the trick is sometimes I want to do the whole rail, and it's kind of becomes a battle of distance now instead of just getting into the trick. So yeah, I'm having lots of fun with it. I've gotten a few variations down, feeble to fakie, feeble to board slide, 50-50 feeble, stuff like that. Anyways, have fun with it. Practice that S curve. Learn it on a regular curb, like a slappy curb first, and that'll probably teach you the foundation of getting it consistently on the slapstick. Thanks, dudes. Later. To get out of the feeble grind, it takes a lot of energy, but all you really do is put pressure on the heel and pick up like you're gonna manual real quick or 5-0 real quick, and it kind of just plops you off either the side of it or at the end if you're at the end.